my name is Madeline, and welcome to this yin yoga class for the winter for cold weather. So, winter is associated with the kidney and the urinary meridians, so we'll be focusing on those areas today. So, a lot of work kind of in the inner thighs, the hips, the legs, and we'll be holding poses from about 2 to 3 minutes. And let's get right into it. We'll just do a tiny bit of movement to warm up the body a bit. We'll do some seated cat-cows. You can bring your hands to your knees. As you inhale, begin to arch the spine forward, looking up. And then round the back as you exhale. And you can continue like this or take any kind of fluid movement that feels good in the body. So maybe some circles. And take one more breath here. And return back to center. So we're going to come onto our bellies now for our first yin pose, which will be a sphinx pose. So coming down onto the belly, and you can bring the forearms flat on the mat, parallel with each other. And then send the gaze out slightly in front of you. Option, if you have a block, to place it underneath the head here and rest the head on that block. It's up to you. And really send that breath down the spine, feeling a nice opening in the front of the body, the front of the hips. And remember to keep breathing deeply here. And let's take a couple more deep breaths here. And then slowly start to let this go, coming all the way down onto the belly. You can stack the hands on top of each other and let your forehead rest on those hands. Maybe you want to wiggle the hips a little side to side just to release that back. And then return back to stillness, and we'll just stay here for a few moments in our resting belly pose. And take one more breath here. then slowly start to press back up onto hands and knees, coming into your tabletop position. And once you're in tabletop, option to take a couple cat cows or any kind of movement that feels good. And return back to center whenever you're ready. Then come to sit back on the heels. Then extend those legs out long in front of you. From here, we'll come into a half saddle pose. So you can start to bend at the right knee and then start to draw that foot back. So top of the foot is going to be flat on the mat. If possible, you can always place a blanket or anything underneath the foot. So you should really feel this in the quad, front of the hip and thigh. And you can stay here if this feels good. If you want some more, you can start to lean back onto your forearms. If you want even more, you can come all the way down onto the back and maybe reach the arms up above you, taking hold of opposite elbows. So, no need to go into your deepest expression of the pose. Just try to meet your edge and choose somewhere where you can remain still. And let's take a few more deep breaths here. Take one last breath. And then slowly, if you're on your back, coming up to the forearms and pressing up to the hands. Really take your time and lean over to the left and just gently extend that right leg out long. Maybe you want to shake the legs out a little bit. And then let's move into that half saddle on the other side, this time bending at the left knee. The top of the left foot is going to be pressing down against the mat. And you can stay upright here, or option to walk down onto the forearms or all the way down onto your back, maybe clasping opposite elbows. And know that each side can feel really different, so no need to do the same variation you did on the other side. Breathing deeply. And let's take a couple more breaths here. And if you're down on your back, slowly beginning to press up onto forearms, then all the way back up onto the hands. You can lean a little over to the right, and then really gently slide that left leg out, shaking the legs a little bit. And then returning back to stillness. And we're going to remain in this seated position. And we're going to come into a half butterfly now. So once again, you'll bend at the right knee. And then this time, bring the sole of the right foot to that left thigh. Option, if you like to use blocks, you can place a couple in front of you for your forehead. And either way, start to extend those arms up and then start to fold forward over that left leg. So getting a nice opening in the hamstring. Really try to let that spine soften and round and let that head drop. And we'll take a few more breaths here. And then slowly start to rise back up, taking your time. You can keep the legs in this position. We'll just do a little counter twist, bringing the left hand to right knee, and then reaching those right fingertips back behind you, and look over that right shoulder, breathing in and out. Then return slowly back to center. You can extend that right leg out long. Maybe shake it out a tiny bit. And then we'll come into that other side, this time bending at the left knee, and sole of the left foot comes to the right thigh. Again, option to place a couple blocks in front of you. And then we'll reach the arms up and then fold over that right leg. Again, notice the difference between the two sides. It's very likely that one side will be a good amount tighter than the other, and that's okay. And we'll take a couple more breaths. And then slowly start to rise back up, keeping legs in this position. And we'll go for a counter twist by bringing the right hand to left knee, left fingertips behind you, and look over that left shoulder, taking a deep breath in, and then exhale out. And we'll return back to center. You can extend that left leg out long, maybe shaking it out a little bit. And then coming back into stillness. And from here, we'll come into a dragonfly pose. So you might want to come to be facing the long ways on your mat. An option if you have a blanket, you can sit on top of that, or a bolster if you have it. And then start to reach that left leg out to the diagonal of the mat, and then that right leg out as well. So you can bend the knees as much as you like here. If you have blocks, you can place them underneath the knees. And if you want to stay upright like this, that's great. That's already a nice stretch. If you want some more, you can start to fold forward in between those legs. Maybe you have a prop to place under the forehead. And just know you really don't have to go too far here. And maybe with each breath, you're able to sink a little bit deeper into the pose. And keep breathing. The deeper you breathe, the deeper you're able to go into the pose. And we'll take a few more deep breaths here. Take one more deep breath. And then slowly start to walk the hands in, coming upright, really taking your time. And bring the hands to the thighs and slowly start to draw those knees back in. There's no rush. Once you're here, option to take a couple of windshield wipers side to side, rocking the knees from side to side. And then return back to center whenever you're ready. And you'll come to face forward on your mat again, coming down onto the back. So once you're here, you might want to rock the knees from side to side. And then return back to center. From here, we'll come into a reclining twist. So you can shift the hips a little over to the left, and then let those knees drop over to the right, extending that left arm out into a T shape or a cactus shape, trying to keep left shoulder pressing down on the mat. Option to place a block or bolster in between the knees or beneath the knees. And then send that breath up and down the spine. And we'll take one more deep breath here. And then slowly draw the knees back in. Hugging them into the chest for a breath. And then shift the hips a little over to the right and let those knees drop on over to the left. And extend that right arm out into a T shape or cactus, keeping right shoulder pressing down on the mat. And then breathing into the spine. And let's take a couple more breaths here. And then slowly draw the knees back into center. You can hug them into the chest, maybe make some circles with those knees. And then from here, feel free to take any final movement or poses the body is needing before we head into Shavasana. So maybe happy baby or a snail pose. And there's no rush, just whenever you're ready, you can start to extend those legs out long. Let the arms drape out to the sides and surrender into the earth for your final resting pose, Shavasana. And if you have the time, I encourage you to stay in the Shavasana for as long as you like. If you have to get going, we'll close with one final breath. And exhale the air out now. Take a big inhale through the nose. And then a big sigh out the mouth. And thank you so much for practicing with me. I hope you're able to stay warm in this cold weather. And if you'd like to see more yin yoga classes like this, please subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you again next time.